Yes, thank you. Okay, and with that, we'll call to order the meeting of the Glendale City Council and Glendale Finance Authority, May 17th. Mr. Kasakian, roll for the City Council, please.
Council members: Friedman.
Here.
Garpetian.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Sinanian.
Here.
Mayor Devine.
Here. And the Financing Authority?
Authority members: Friedman.
Here.
Garpetian.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Sinanian.
Here.
Mayor Devine.
Here. And your report?
Agenda for the May 17, 2016 joint public meeting of the City Council and the Financing Authority was posted on Friday, May 13, 2016 on the bulletin board outside City Hall. Before you is the Director of Finance regarding approval of Bank of America's proposal to purchase Glendale variable rate demand certificates of participation 2000 police building project and approving related documents and actions. 1A is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Glendale approving proposal for purchase Glendale variable rate demand certificates of participation 2000 police building project and approving related documents and actions. B is a resolution of the Board of Directors of the City of Glendale Financing Authority approving proposal of purchase Glendale variable rate demand certificates of participation 2000 police building project and approving related documents and actions.
Thank you. Mr. Ochoa?
Perhaps a little anticlimactic considering how much we've discussed about this particular financing. We're talking about the police headquarters building across the street and the structure that had been used to facilitate its construction, and now migrating into a new phase of that financing. And Bob will give you a very brief presentation that highlights the discussions we've had thus far.
Very brief. Madam Mayor, members of the council, we have a current three-year obligation with Bank of America. This debt started out as was stated for building the police building back in 2000. We converted it to the current structure that it's in 2013. It was a three-year commitment from Bank of America. Our all-in cost through that time has averaged about 0.54%. The way it's structured, it's a variable rate instrument. It's set at 70% of the one-month LIBOR index, plus a fixed spread of 40 basis points. So all-in cost has been about 0.54 the last 3 years. Our current principal is 48, or in 2013 was 48.9 million. After our June 1st payment of this year, it'll be down to 35.6 million of what we owe. There's been various fees involved in that. So with that expiring, we went out and looked at various banks again and got quotes, or asked for quotes from 3 different banks. Bank of America, our current provider, gave us a quote, as did Wells Fargo, and JP Morgan did not submit one ultimately. And as has been suggested a number of times by council, is looking at borrowing internally from our cash pool. So we did a whole analysis of that moving forward and compared all those different options. So what happened is we looked at all the different options from Wells Fargo. They actually had the lowest spread based off LIBOR. The one problem that they put in their proposal was that if Measure N passed, they reserve the right to pull the entire engagement from us, which wouldn't give us enough time to seek additional financing.
Another benefit of Measure.
Yeah, it would have been great to have a lower rate, but that really was a poison pill for their proposal. Bank of America came back with basically renewing their terms. They did give us a 1-year out clause instead of a fixed 3-year term like we have now. They raised their spread from 40 basis points to 48, but still at the 70% 1-month LIBOR moving forward. And then we looked at the internal pool, and frankly, it just ended up having a lot more cons than pros. While we could control the interest rate and set it internally, it would really end up costing us money in the long term for a couple of reasons. One, we'd use all the cash we have on hand in that fund that we use for debt service now. And what we have done is, if you recall in the multi-year forecast for general fund, we've ramped up contributions for the COPs to be paid off in the future. We still have 14 years left on the debt, so we've ramped that up. So if we eliminate all the cash in that fund right now by eliminating a good portion of the debt, we wouldn't have that cost. So the general fund basically has no capacity to make those debt service payments. Additionally, we would have to modify our investment policy and make it longer than 5 years, so this would be a longer-term commitment. And frankly, it doesn't make sense because the treasurer is making more than what we would spend on the rates from Wells Fargo or BFA for that matter. So it just didn't make any sense. The cost breakdowns of the three proposals are as such. Bank of America net cost would be about $211,000, and we built in some interest rate increases throughout the three-year proposal. So it's I think realistic based on where short-term rates are going. As I said, the spread was raised from 0.4 to 0.48. We're assuming an all-in cost of about 78 basis points, which is still less than 1%. So it's very, very cheap financing. It allows us to keep the $19 million in-house to make our debt service over the next several years while we ramp up those contributions over time into that fund. And there's no immediate impact on the general fund. So with that, we recommend approval of the Bank of America proposal, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Is there any question? Mr. Garpetti?
Okay, question. They say net cost is 211,000 versus Wells Fargo 67. Why is that?
Because we would be using more cash to pay the higher costs, and we would be earning less in the Bank of America proposal. So if you see the interest earned is 761,000 versus the 826, we would be paying less interest with the Bank of America or Wells Fargo.
I'm sorry, where are you looking at? Interest earned?
What's that?
Where is that at? The interest earned?
Right here on that table.
Page, what slide?
What's it, slide 7? Or page 3?
Yeah, in the bottom, okay.
Yeah. So it would be cheaper to go with Wells Fargo if we could do that, but they really had the poison pill in there in terms of the measure end thing, and we found that out through our due diligence call. So Bank of America's
Is there a prepayment penalty with these loans?
Well, Wells Fargo was a 3-year commitment. Bank of America is allowing us now to have a 1-year out clause. So if the market does change, we can reevaluate it in 1 year instead of waiting all 3. So that's one sweetener they did add.
And then if that happens, we can maybe perhaps go back to Bank of America?
Correct.
QUT.
We could
Fails.
renegotiate after 1 year.
Okay.
Yes.
If I may, but the scenario that would cause us to reevaluate would be a drop in the LIBOR rate,
Correct.
right? I mean, is anyone thinking that
it's
we're going to
still-
have a drop in the
I doubt
the
it.
rate?
I doubt it.
So that's not so much of a gift to us, but I like the Wells Fargo better. It saves money, and it's
And we can reevaluate that in a year. We could go back to Wells Fargo and say, would they do those terms again next year? Because obviously Measure N will be decided at that
I
point.
mean, I don't think Bank of America is doing that, giving us that great of a deal. I mean, the Measure N, we're going to know Measure N in a few weeks.
We won't know by the time this expires in early July. We won't have the election results till 45 days.
45 days? We'll know.
We'll be certain.
Yeah, if it's close, we won't know. We won't be able to say for certain.
I know it is, as Mr. Garpetian points out, it is kind of ironic and painful, but it is what it is.
I mean, all in all, it's still less than 1%, so it's very inexpensive money.
If it were
45 days? I mean,
45 days for the certification, it's the county's election, but as Mr. City
How
Attorney
did that
points out,
sound?
that if it is close, like very, very close, you won't know. There's no way to know until the end.
Okay.
There's a 0.13% difference.
Any other comments? I need 2 motions on this. One from the council. Make the motion.
I'll move for council,
You. Second? Anyone?
Second.
the recommendation.
Mr. Kazakian, roll call.
Council members Friedman,
Yes.
Garpetian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Sinanian. Yes. Mayor Devine.
Yes, and from the Board of Directors, Glendale Financing Authority, have a motion.
I'll move it.
Roll call?
Authority members Friedman,
Yes.
Garpetian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Sinanian.
Yes.
Mayor Devine.
Yes. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
We are adjourned.
For finance.